Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CEW Podcast. That's right, we're actually doing it this month. It's later than usual months because it's been very, very busy as of late. I can't get into too many specifics. I don't really want to because it's basically just the same old as it was in October. A lot of university work, a lot of we're getting closer to assignment hand-ins and stuff. So naturally, my mind's focused on that. I'm working on a film now, so that's quite interesting. First time I'm actually like properly making a genuine film, so that's like really exciting as well. So yeah, that's why I haven't had a lot of time to work on content last month. I got a little bit done, literally as I'm recording this. EPW Wednesday Night Warzone episode 10 should be dropping in just over an hour, so that's pretty interesting. And yeah, I'm working hard to try and get the November stuff done. Things will probably be delayed. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get there. But enough of the updates. We're just gonna get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode of the podcast. And I feel like when I give these like bigger videos where I talk about less about CEW stuff and more about just general core stuff, that's kind of where I seemingly do the best. So tips and tricks for promos. Now, I think we can all agree. I do think we can all agree that when it comes to professional wrestling, there is no more important thing, especially in core, when we're doing all this core stuff. There's no better quality about a person who's working on a core than their ability to cut a promo. Now, today, I'm going to be saying a lot of things that people aren't going to like. I'm going to say a lot of things that people will get annoyed about me saying. But I want to preface this by saying that I'm not talking about promo tips and tricks as a way to bring up drama. People know what you can do when you're cutting a promo in quotation marks, and we don't need to discuss that stuff. You know that whenever someone can just hide behind a character, they're going to do and say things that they probably shouldn't, and that's just how it is. But I want to talk a little bit more about, actual promo ability and how you can potentially develop a better promo ability. So before I get into the intricacies of just heel and face promos, because that's a little step further, let's just talk about what if you don't feel like you can cut a promo. What if you feel like you can't actually speak in a way that will draw people in, because that's what a promo's about. It really doesn't matter about content. You could have the best written promo in the world, but if you go to speak it and it just comes off as disconnected, robotic, you feel like you're reading from a script, that's when people are gonna not be interested. The whole point is you're meant to sell a story through your words and through how you say those words, not just necessarily, as I said, you could have the best promo script given to you. You could be given the Hard Times script and you could still not cut a promo as good as Dusty Rhodes did it. It's about how you talk, alright? And it will always vary from character to character, so I can't necessarily give you a way of this is how to absolutely cut a promo. But when it comes to maybe if you don't really read scripts a lot, maybe you struggle to speak a lot, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not saying that you have to be a fluent talker to cut a good promo. I'm just saying it's about finding what works for you to create a promo that people are going to be engaged by. The way I've done it is because I did drama for my GCSEs, so I know how to read a script, I know how to project my voice and all that stuff, and I know how to, kind of put on moods that I'm not feeling. And that's why I end up cutting all of the promos for all of my characters. I don't even want to talk about how many there are, there's too many. But there's a reason why I feel like I'm good at being able to give tips for this. Because like I said, I've done drama, I've been working on film stuff for like 5 years. I know what you're looking for when it comes to, I would argue voice acting is kind of what it is with CAW, but some people also do cut IRL promos as well, it's just how it is. And I think the big thing really is just a case of, like I said, find what works for you. If you can't read from a script, try just going off the top of your head. If going off the top of your head doesn't work, the ideas aren't flowing, and you still kind of struggle to read a script, bullet point it. Give yourself points that you're going to cover in the promo, and then just, you won't have to think of everything. You'll have to come up with some of the points, but the main points will be there for you when you're cutting the promo. That's how I started doing stuff. Right now, I'm currently going for a mixture of fully scripted promos, and for some characters, so like Byron, I often just freeball it. Blake is often just off the top of the head. There's a lot of characters who I can't script for, just because I don't really know what I'm gonna be saying as them, until I actually sit down and actually just press record and start recording the promo. Which is a blessing and a curse. But once you've started to develop your confidence and you've found a system that works for you, like I said, maybe it's the bullet point, maybe it's the fully scripted, maybe you just go off the top of your head, I don't know. But once you've found that, now we need to talk about whether or not your character is a face or a heel. And the first thing I want to address, and this is going to come off as quite controversial, I know it is, 21 in CAW that's listening to this and agrees with the sentiment of, if you're a heel, don't bury your opponent. I agree and disagree. Allow me to explain. One of the best moments recently in CEW was Stanley Owens' rise to the World Heavyweight Championship. That story was Blake Payne telling Stanley that he isn't ready for the main event. That story was Blake Payne not necessarily burying Stanley, but holding him in a lower regard than everybody else. That made Blake public enemy number one, because everyone loves Stanley Owens. I mean, there's a reason why when I had him lose the IC title at Down in Flames, there's a reason why the Discord watch party was literally up in arms over Stanley losing. Everyone loves Stanley Owens. So I knew I had to get as much heat on Blake as possible, and I knew the story of Blake asking Stanley if he was ready was a good idea. And the problem with that, though, is that goes along the lines of, oh, but Blake was burying Stanley by saying that he wasn't ready for the main event of Kingdom of Glory. Blake buried him by saying that he's not on the same level as him. I don't agree with that sentiment, though. I completely understand that you're a nobody, I don't care about you, it's going to be the easiest win of my life, but even then, it's going to be the easiest win of my life is still a very, very good story element for certain characters. It really all depends on who you are and how you use that promo going forward in the story. If you're just going to bury someone for the sake of burying them, then that's the problem. But if you're going to say something along the lines of, this person isn't on my level, they're a nobody, the who are you one, I do not understand the hatred for the who are you thing, especially if they've just come into a company. Like, isn't the whole point of when somebody debuts that we are meant to figure out who they are as they go along? So if their debut feud is a heel asking them who they are, isn't that literally just the promotion giving you the tools to figure out who this character is as they go along? Like, and again, that ties into the whole, it's not what you say, it's how you say it and how it progresses the story, I feel, is the big thing. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot, because it's always the one thing that people always circle back to when it comes to cutting promos is, don't bury your opponent, don't bury them. And then they go and give examples of things that can actually be very useful in storylines if you're doing it in the right way. If you don't do it in the right way, and you're just saying those lines to be a dickhead, then yes, absolutely, that is burying someone, and that's just not on. But it's about the intent, and what you're going to do with what has been said. And then for faces, I always feel like people say that face promos are boring. I always get the consensus that people always say being a heel is a lot more fun because you get to say whatever you want. Guess what? You can say whatever you want as a face as well. You can't be a dickhead. You know, faces are allowed to have an edge to them. Faces are allowed to insult heels. It's how it works. I don't know where we got this idea that faces have to be this all good 100% of the time goody two-shoes hero. It works for certain characters. Sienna Payne, for example. But even she has a bit of an edge to her. You got Joshua Walker, who also has a bit of an edge to him. If you're going to make someone that's just a goody two-shoes, that's never going to insult someone and says, I'm going to fight for the people, then they're a pushover. And, like, that's a good storyline to tell, but is it going to be engaging once it's done 5 or 6 times? I feel like the big issue with people when it comes to faces is that they don't want to be seen as even slightly insulting people, because we grow up thinking that the hero has to be on the good side of everything all the time. They don't insult anyone, they don't fight anyone, they only fight when they have to, and I just think at times when you're coming up with a face promo, if you have been insulted by a heel, you are allowed to fire back. Maybe your character wouldn't fire back, and that's fine. Then hit them back with kindness. It really all depends on who the character is and where their words are going to lead the story. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to promos, is you've got to think less of what sounds cool, less of what, sounds cool and will get like a reaction from the live stream chat or the premiere chat or whatever, and you've got to think more about what will help tell the story in the best way possible. What will help actually make people go, you know what, I'm invested in this, let's see where it goes. Because I feel like a lot of people use a lot of blanket terms to describe what a good promo and a bad promo is. But to me, I think it's a case of sometimes what could be constituted as a bad promo in one storyline and maybe between 2 characters is a fantastic storyline and a fantastic promo in a storyline between 2 other people. I do believe that when it comes to creating a promo, it very much lies with the character. If you know that your character would say that, and you know why your character would say that, and you know where the story's gonna go, so that, if you are quote unquote burying your opponent, at least your opponent gets a comeuppance, and maybe the heel then goes, you know what, maybe I disagree, maybe I was wrong for saying that you're not on my level, for example. But yeah, I think that's it. Basically, just to summarize the tips and tricks, figure out what works for you when you're first trying to figure out how to cut good promos. Script it, bullet point it, fluent, off the top of your head, whatever. And then when it comes to heel and face promos, just think about what works for the story and what works for your character. That's literally it. I wouldn't worry about what somebody else is saying, because at the end of the day, it's not really their character. It should just be between you, the person you're promoting against, and maybe the Fed owner if they're that kind of person who really wants to get involved in that aspect. But yeah, that's the core talk. So for those of you that are here strictly for the promo tips and tricks, I will see you all next time. But we have CEW news, and this means I'm going to have to edit today, which is fine because it's not going to be a lot of stuff. Going to be announcing a couple little things here. So for those of you on YouTube, I realized something recently. I should be using the community tab more. I used it a lot and then I just forgot. And with Twitter/X being what it is nowadays, I do think that maybe moving all of my promotional stuff mainly over to the community tab will be a very, very good idea. It does mean that unfortunately I kind of have to work on graphics that aren't green screen moving graphics, which is really unfortunate because I don't think... Can you post GIFs on the community tab? we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out. But anyway, I thought I would start off by letting you guys know what's happening in November. So we have, I'm pretty sure this is going to come out before then, but we have Open Challenge Night Episode 8, which will feature the Hardcore Champion Dr. Victor Psychosis, the CEW Network Champion Christine Rosario, looking for a record-tying 15th defense of the Network Championship. Should she get it here tonight, she will tie Braxton Myers' record for most title defenses in CEW. We then have a very, very special little matchup, as Arlo Newman will be defending the EPW European Championship. And in, of course, the main event, it was announced on Hardcore Halloween, but Stanley Owens will be defending the World's Heavyweight Championship. And I feel like a lot of people have probably been waiting for Stanley to defend the belt again. And here it is, everybody. So, you're getting what you want. But that's not it for November. The plan is to hopefully get a relatively big show done by the end of November, called November to Remember. It's on the screen now, hopefully. This will be probably the last big show of the year. Invictus is probably going to be the beginning of 2024, and yeah, we're just gonna play it by ear, see how that goes, because knowing my luck, everything's gonna pick up in January, so Invictus might take a while, so that's why I'm doing shows like this, just in case Invictus does take a bit. And when it comes to November to Remember, I announced a couple matches a little while ago on Discord, so whilst I'm here, I might as well plug it, because if you're here listening to the CEW news section as opposed to just listening to the promo stuff, you're probably quite interested in CEW stuff. So I will definitely recommend the CEW Discord. It's a fun little place, you know, a bunch of us are just there chilling. We do predictions championship stuff, so every pay-per-view I put a Google form in the Discord. You guys all put in your predictions, and the highest scorer gets a special role until the next pay-per-view. I put a lot more updates on content on Discord because I like to let you guys know what's going on, but I don't like flooding the community tab. So instead, I kind of set up the Discord as a way to also have updates. You can talk to other people about basically just anything, be it CEW stuff, real wrestling, maybe just stuff you like, you know? You never know. People in there, we all like different things, you know? So, now that I've got the Discord up, let me just run through the quick little announcements. So we have 2 matches announced for November to Remember, and I'm going to announce a third exclusively on the podcast, which will be revealed on the community tab as well, probably an hour after this airs. So, for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Elizabeth Payne, she said she wasn't going to defend until she got her hands on Kofi Conaway. And well, management have made it official for November to Remember. Elizabeth Payne versus Kofi Conaway for the Women's IC title. And a big matchup which has been brewing since before Fight Forever. So it's been about a year plus that this has been brewing. British Rebellion versus Raza Ranye. They're going to finally collide inside a steel cage, because these two teams have been battering each other left, right, and center, and management thought the only way to contain them was by locking them inside of a cage. And as most CEW cage matches go, there will be no escape. The rules are no escape. And I'm going to go ahead and reveal one more little matchup for you. Apologies if you can hear the mouse clicking. I'm going to go ahead and just announce this. So, as we all know, Blake Payne has been making a move over to the hardcore division. He believes that he will inject grace and decorum into the hardcore division, which is an absolute insane thing. But management have agreed, and his first match in the hardcore division is going to be a hardcore rules match against Vasco Cortez Jr. These two are going to tear the house down at November to Remember. I cannot wait for this matchup. This is going to be a very, very fun little matchup right here. Blake Payne, Vasco Cortez Jr., hardcore rules. And that, my friends, was the CEW news, which means that is the end of the CEW podcast. I'm just going to wrap this up as quickly as humanly possible. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.